Who doesn't love value? Hello, and today we are jumping on the value train. We are playing Simic Ritual in Legacy, and this deck is all about just unsurmountable value engines. So, this is a Simic, I'll call it mid-range deck, so to speak, that is looking to take advantage of Birthing Ritual as a way to gain value and churn through your deck to be able to get game-ending threats in the form of Abhorrent Oculus and Quantum Riddler onto the battlefield essentially for free and uncounterably. So to do this, we're looking to leverage cheap creatures that we generate value both entering and leaving the battlefield. So on the entering side, we have Coiling Oracle and ice-fang Coatl that act as card draw. Coatl is straight up card draw. Coiling Oracle doesn't count as a draw and can actually act as ramp depending on if you reveal a land card or a non-land card. And then on the leaving side of things, we have Phantasmal Shield back that when it leaves the battlefield, you draw a card off of it. So we're looking to get these cheap value creatures onto the battlefield and then start sacrificing them to Birthing Ritual to work our way up the chain into our game finishers of Abhorrent Oculus, which as a game finisher, it's a 5/5 flyer, but it also creates more bodies and churns through your deck so that you can end up getting even more value off of other creatures further down the line, or into Quantum Riddler to take over the skies, draw you some cards. Now, the cool thing about the way that this deck works is Quantum Riddler can act both as an early game engine and as a late game finisher. We can warp the Riddler for 2, and then if you have a Birthing Ritual, you can stack the triggers so that the warp trigger happens last, and that allows you to be able to sacrifice your Quantum Riddler to Birthing Ritual to be able to get an Oculus or something into play before the Riddler warps out. So you get to get the card draw off of it, and you get to turn it into a sticky body. We are backing all of this up with a traditional blue counter tempo strategy. We have our dazes, we have Force of Wills, and as I said, we're leveraging cheap value creatures that gain us value when they leave the battlefield. So we also have Flare of Denial. So the classic line in this is to play a Phantasmal Shield back and then sacrifice the shield back to Flare of Denial. You get to draw a card off of the shield back, so you don't really care that it's leaving, and you get to counter your opponent's spell. To help churn through our deck, we've also got Brainstorms, and because this deck is able to draw so many cards and churn through it so fast, we do have a one of Tameo. We can use it as sacrifice fodder for Flare of Denial or to go up the chain with Birthing Ritual, but flipping it is pretty easy, and then we can just threaten that as a way to end the game as well. So it acts as value and a win con all in one. We also have a one of fun of Phantasmal Image, which we could either copy one of our creatures if there's something on the battlefield that we want to have a redundant effect of, like copying an Oculus or a Riddler or something like that, or we can copy our opponent's creature. So if our opponents manage to get something down, like a Merit Lage or an Orcish Bowmasters, we can just copy it, infinitely block the Merit Lage with our own Merit Lage, kill the Bowmaster with our Bowmaster, stuff like that. So lots of fun cloning shenanigans that can happen there. We also have a single sink into Stupor to be able to bounce our opponent's spells or permanents if there's something we really need to get off of the battlefield, because truly removing a resolved thing in Simic is kind of hard. They're not really the true removal colors. And as another late game engine and finisher, we do have a one of Uro. Mana base is kind of wonky, to be completely honest. It's a little low for this style of deck at only 19 lands, and it does have a ton of basics, but the reason is because they're snow-covered basics, and they can turn on Death Touch on ice-fang Coatl so that we can have a really annoying death-touching chump blocker to try to stop our opponent's large creatures that are trying to get in, like a Murktide Regent or a Barrowglaive or something like that. We also have some mana disruption in the form of Wasteland to be able to try to keep our opponent off kilter. This is kind of a tempo mid-range hybrid deck, so being able to hit your opponent's mana when you don't really need mana to do your own thing, if you have a Birthing Ritual online already, could be a huge tempo swing in your advantage. Rounded out with a bunch of fetch lands, surveil lands, some dual lands, a Boseiju to be able to take out artifacts, enchantments, or lands, and an Otawara to be able to bounce any kind of problematic things on the opponent's side of the battlefield. In the sideboard, it's really just a whole assortment of cards to deal with various things that your opponents are going to be doing to try to mess up their game plan. We are an engine style deck. We don't have a combo that we really need to protect. So our entire sideboard is about messing with our opponent. You've got Consign to Memory for the colorless artifact decks and ramp decks and be able to shut down storm triggers and stuff like that. Another Phantasmal Image to be able to bring in up against like Sneak and Show style decks, or to be able to bring in against lands, or if there's just some creature that your opponent is relying on that you would like to be able to copy. Some Force Negations, again, for combo style decks. Harbinger of the Seas to take down the greedy mana bases and stuff like lands and Eldrazi. Dismembers as some targeted removal to be able to get rid of problematic creatures on the battlefield. Collector Oof for the artifact decks. Force of Vigor for artifact and enchantment decks. And then 3 Endurances to be able to take on the graveyard decks. And if we end up in a super grindy matchup, we could bring those in to try to prevent ourselves from decking, because we're putting so many cards to the graveyard with things like Abhorrent Oculus and Birthing Ritual and Uro that there is a very real possibility that we could deck ourselves if we get super, super late in the game. So this is a really cool value tempo mid-range strategy, something a little more unique. I've seen Birthing Ritual pop up every now and then in the Legacy meta, so I'm really excited to give it a try. If you like this video, do me a favor, drop a like and a comment below, and be sure to sub to the channel. As an added bonus, if the channel hits 500 subs by the end of June, I will do free donation deck lists for all of July. So if you want to see your deck played on the channel, make sure you hit that sub button below. That all being said, let's take this through a league. I'll catch you all in the wrap-up. Time to generate some value. Won the die roll, let's go. This hand... I got a turn to flip Tamiyo, but with only 1 land and it being my MDFC, I think I gotta ship this one. Okay, this we can keep. I think we're going to probably put the redundant shield back to the bottom. And we could start off with a Flooded Strand into shield back or Brainstorm. I think we're going to play this a little safe. Probably go get a fetch land, see what our opponent does. We can emergency Brainstorm if we need to. Underground Sewers from the opponent, so some kind of Dimir or something. I'm still a little worried about a Wasteland, but kept whatever was on top. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so this is probably either that, like, mono-black aggro deck, or it's Dimir Tempo of some sort. But with that, I'm guessing it's that, like, mono-black aggro deck, and it's just using Undercity Sewers as a Surveil land. Though I have seen some versions that are actively playing blue to try to incorporate some mild tempo elements in it. We do not need another Phantasmal Shield back. I would like another land before we do anything. Opponent is getting a draw off of their Bauble. That is a Force of Will. Unfortunately, I think we're brainstorming here just to try to find a land. Oh, God. Okay. Well, if they have a Wasteland, we are very fucked. I mean, we got a bunch of Force of Wills to stop some shit, but... Okay, Polluted Delta into a Tamiyo. I think we're going to go ahead and Force of Will that. We're going to check this ice-fang Quaddle. I don't want to deal with this subgame right now. Force pitching Kaito Bane of Nightmares. We will let that go. And then we're going to force pitching Force. I mean, this sucks that this is where we're at, but we already know our next 2 draws are dead. And luckily, we both wasted a bunch of resources here. Opponent's cracking their Delta into an island. Into a Ponder, okay. Like, I feel like we're pretty well matched against this deck if we're not just getting absolutely mana screwed like we are right now. There's our Riddler. We'll play the shield back, and then we gotta pass a turn. We know our next draw, I believe, is another shield back. But they're pretty worthless if we're being honest. And if our opponent finds a Wasteland, we can set even further back. Yeah, no. I'm gonna scoop this one up. We knew our next draw wasn't gonna do anything. This is gonna seem like a super early scoop, but I'm not sitting here and fucking around with that. That being said, what do we want to bring in here? I think we're actually gonna bring in our Harbinger of the Seas and try to screw with their mana a little bit here. I don't think we need Phantasmal Image. I'm not super sure a Tamiyo battle is what I want to be doing either, but we're also up against a fair deck, so there's something to be said about bringing these Force of Wills out, or at least trim 1 maybe. We could bring in Dismembers to try to get rid of some of their small creatures. That might be better than some more of these Force of Wills. I mean, maybe we just keep the Phantasmal Image in, pitch a Force of Will. We can copy the Orcish Bowmasters or something like that. Like, I know that first game is going to seem like a super early scoop, but we got incredibly fucking mana screwed. We knew our next draw wasn't a land, and our opponent had their mana under them. That was just an extremely unfortunate brainstorm. But I think we're gonna try something like this. And if we go to a game 3 and we have to sideboard accordingly, we will. Alright, let's not get mana screwed again. Okay, this is much, much better. We can keep this. And worst case scenario, we can go ahead and sack this Tamiyo to this Flare of Denial if we need to. But we also at least have all of our colors under us, under Wasteland. And then I don't think I said it, but I brought the Harbinger of the Seas in to fuck with their black mana. Flooded Strand from the opponent. Into an island. Into a Tamiyo of their own. Is this worth flaring their Tamiyo? No, I don't think it is. We can try to flare a Brainstorm, and they followed up with a Mishra's Bauble. They are seeing what our draw is. They get a draw off of the Bauble. We hit another Flare Denial, so they know about it. We will play the basic for right now, and play a Coiling Oracle. That resolves. We hit a land, so we can still go ahead and fetch for our Surveil land here. And we don't have to worry about Kaido coming down on 2, so we can safely get in with the Tamiyo to grab a clue now. We also can just flip our Tamiyo next turn if we want to, and we're starting to win the Tamiyo race. I absolutely will Flare of Denial a Brainstorm. Bloodstained Mire from the opponent. Moving to combat. They get a clue. Cracking Bloodstained Mire. Into a black mana. Into a Bowmasters that we will go ahead and counter. And then in end step, we will go ahead and drop a Hedge Maze to try to set up our next draw. A ice-fang Coatl. Okay. I like that. We can actually blow the Tamiyo at instant speed with our ice-fang Coatl. So we'll draw the Coatl, play Misty Rainforest. There's something to be said about cracking this clue here. We will move to combat, get in with Tamiyo, get another clue, and then I think we're going to pass flashing this ice-fang Coatl, because they might be trying to take next turn to get in a Kaido. We also could always just cast this Flare Denial, but we'll see what happens here. Like, we can flash in ice-fang Coatl, get our blowout, theoretically. So they're going to get in here. We are going to fetch to go grab another basic, so that ice-fang Coatl has Death Touch. So we'll grab a basic island. We will flash in ice-fang Coatl. If they have another Bowmaster, I'm probably willing to give up this Tamiyo. They did not. We will move to declare blockers, block the Tamiyo with the Death Toucher. They are going to Brainstorm. I think I'm willing to lose our Tamiyo over this. I don't think we're winning a Tamiyo race, especially with them having Bowmasters. So we're just going to counter this with another Flare Denial. Force of Will. Well, let's see what we can do here. We'll crack a clue. See if we hit... Nope, we hit an island. That's not what we wanted at all. But we did exhaust a lot of their resources, which is nice. And they checked another Tamiyo to that. Luckily, an Abhorrent Oculus can attack into this Tamiyo and actually kill it. And they're just taking up Tamiyo. Are they missing lands, or are they just waiting to play a land? They are going to Thoughtseize. We are going to go ahead and daze that, because we need to get this Abhorrent Oculus down. Okay, they did have a land, but they played it after Thoughtseizing, which allowed the Thoughtseize to resolve. A Flooded Strand. We will play Hedge Maze. Birthing Ritual. We can put that on top. And then we will play Oculus. And then there's no point attacking with ice-fang Coatl. It can't do anything anyways. And now we should get a decent stream of 2/2s to be able to start attacking into this Tamiyo. We will put another Oculus onto the battlefield. We did just lose that ritual we put on top, but I think having the extra Oculus on the battlefield is more important at this point. Fetched an Underground Sea. Fatal Push on that Oculus. Okay, we have another one we can flip up and still attack into this Tamiyo. And they're not ticking down to get the other Fatal Push back. I like that. Into a 5/6 Nethergoyf. Well, we kind of wall that with the ice-fang Coatl, so I'm okay with that. See what we draw here. We draw a Quantum Riddler, which we can get to draw 2. So we're actually going to start off by flipping this face up, move to combat. We will get in at the Tamiyo, knock it back down to its starting loyalty. We will play the Flooded Strand, crack the Flooded Strand just to keep fueling our graveyard. Grab our Trop, warp the Quantum Riddler to draw 2. And we hit a Birthing Ritual, so I like that for next turn. See what we hit off of this. We hit a ice-fang Coatl. I'm fine with that. Upticking the Tamiyo because they can't do anything else with it. They do have one redraw. This looks like it might be a Murktide region based off of what they were doing. But we actually have quite a few bounce spells to be able to stop a Murktide region. And we also can just Stonewall it with ice-fang Coatls. And we can very easily go wide of it. Are they getting it with another Netherglyph? No. Okay. That is fine. We hit another land. We know there's no more fetchables left. So I think we're going to start off by cracking a clue here. We hit up a Seiju. That doesn't really do anything. We will play the Trop. We will play Birthing Ritual. And we could try to cut them off of some mana here. There is the possibility that, like, they don't have any other land on top of that. But I think we're going to try to ambush mode with this Coatl. And we're probably not going to actually use Birthing Ritual unless we see something insane here. Harbinger shuts them off of one of their black mana. I don't think we're going to use it this turn. I'd rather stay on defense duty here. And, I mean, we'll just put another Coatl into play. Just keep the wall of Death Touchers going. We do have to deal with this Tamiyo eventually, but... Into a Barrogoyf, okay. Upticks the Tamiyo. They might just be playing Protect the Queen until they can deal with this Tamiyo, but we do have bounce spells. Like, we've still got Otawara, and we've still got our, whatchamacallit as well, the Synchronous Stupor. Well, since we're not doing anything else with our mana, we'll go ahead and turn this face up. We hit a Quantum Riddler. Well, we will play a Forest. We kind of need to draw as many cards as possible here. So we can play this Quantum Riddler just to keep it out. We can warp a Quantum Riddler to see what'll happen here. I've actually got enough mana that I can do both. So we're going to warp a Quantum Riddler, see if we draw anything off of this. We really need a bounce spell for this Tamiyo. That is not a bounce spell. And then I guess we'll just play this one. Polluted Delta. Already played our land for turn. I guess we got to ship it. And we will put the warp on the bottom, just in case we hit something we want off of this Birthing Ritual. Think we'll warp it into another Quantum Riddler. So this is the one with warp. We will turn that into another Quantum Riddler. We hit another Daze. Ice-fang Coatl and Dismember. Okay, so we need to find a way to draw one of our bounce spells this turn. Is basically what it comes down to here. They're drawn with a clue. Okay, yeah, you can Thoughtseize this. We have nothing in our hand that particularly matters here. Like, I'll let you take the damage. Like, we could have dazed that, but it really doesn't matter. We could attack their mana just to try to limit what they can do here. And we have a bunch of flyers, and we can go wide. So them ultimating this Tamiyo isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. We had another Birthing Ritual. Well, let's just get rid of that for now, because we're not doing anything else with it. This is another ice-fang Coatl. Alright, got a Surveil land. Kept whatever it was on top. We're playing this. We will play another Birthing Ritual. And then we will go ahead and pass the turn. Like, we can theoretically go wide enough that we can get around Tamiyo the turn that they go down and just swing out for lethal. See if we hit anything worth hitting here. We have another Abhorrent Oculus, which I think... Well, there goes our Synchronous Stupor. We will go ahead and lose one of our Coatls for an Oculus. And then there's our Otawara. I think we will go ahead... Well, because that stops us from being able to flip our other stuff here if we grab the Harbinger. So I think we're just going to say okay, no, and pass. And hope that we can go wide enough around everything that's going on here, basically. We'll put a Brainstorm on the battlefield. I don't think that super matters. And then we will put another Birthing Ritual on the battlefield. And our opponent can draw half of their deck now, but I'm hoping that with this downtick of the Tamiyo not nuking this stuff, we can get around this easy enough. It would be annoying if they just play another Tamiyo, Brainstorm, flip it, uptick it, and it stops all of our 1/1s, but... Polluted Delta, friendly opponent, okay. Fatal Push targeting what? An Oculus? Okay. Did they draw their other two Fatal Pushes? They did hit another Tameo. Do they have the brainstorm to flip it to nuke all of my 1/1s? They do. Alright, well, we're just gonna go ahead and cast this for the hell of it then. Just tap them out of some mana or get some resources out of their hand. Ooh, they actually are force of willing this. That is interesting. Okay. But they also chose not to flip the Tameo. Interesting. I guess they just wanted another blocker in the air? I mean, we've got another ice-fang Coatl we can flip face up. We actually have 2 of them. Into another Nethergoyf. Okay. So they're tapped out. Is this wide enough if we go in the air is the question. Because they can block the 5/5. They take... Ooh, Snuff Out on the Riddler. Okay, well that did basically the same amount of damage. So I think that's mostly fine. We will see if this is enough to get around and go wide. We could shut off a bunch of their black mana here, which I don't hate. We will turn this face up. Turn this face up. We can play Harbinger of the Seas. This will turn on our Misty. So they've got 2 blockers in the air. They can block our 2 big things, take 3. But then that offers up a crack back on the ground with this Barrowgoyf to gain 6. We will play Phantasmal Shield back. I can't flip any of these face up. Okay, well, we will go to combat. I think we're going to leave 1 ice-fang Coatl back just for the sake of trying to block this Barrowgoyf. And then we can let them kind of do their thing, because this is going to be the last time that the Coatls are able to attack. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Leave 1 back for blocking duty on this Barrowgoyf. Alright, they are blocking the Oculus. Are they going to block with the Tameo? Yes. So they take 2, go to 6. I still have a Coatl back on D. And now we can Birthing Ritual. We have another Abhorrent Oculus, so we will go ahead and lose ice-fang Coatl, grab another Oculus, Coiling Oracle, another Harbinger of the Seas, another shield back. We have a Riddler, but we can't get to it here. I think we give up shield back here for Coiling Oracle to potentially draw 2. Hit another Coiling Oracle, and a Phantasmal Image. Okay. I guess we will put Otawara. Unfortunately, that was one of our outs. I don't know if we've lost our Sink into Super yet. I haven't been paying close enough attention. Plays a Wasteland. They have an Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. So that can kill our Death Toucher. Which does mean they get 6 back off of this Barrowgoyf. Which if they swing it with this Barrowgoyf, it might be worth it to like triple, quadruple block it just to kill it. They are getting in with it. And we will like quadruple block this bitch to kill it. I actually think this is going to end by us decking ourselves, if I'm being completely honest. It looks like they got another Murktide region here. It is, and this makes the first one massive. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is over now. Because even if we Phantasmal Image copying one of these, it doesn't have the counters on it. And another Tameo. Alright. We hit a Misty. Yeah, we're going to scoop it up here. They managed to pull out from under it, but very well fought second game after a very disappointing mana screw in game 1. But on to the next round. Won the die roll. We need a land. Do we trust that we're going to get one? This is really good if we hit a land. But we saw in game 1 that we got absolutely mana screwed into oblivion. I think we're going to keep it and trust in a Surveil land here. This might be incorrect, but we're going to attempt it. I like that we have some protection as well. Alright, opponent kept on 7. We will play Flooded Strand and pass the turn. Underground Sea. Apparently it's Dimir Gaming Day. Into a Ponder. Is this going to be another Dimir Tempo deck? And opponent did not shuffle. We really need to see a land off the top here. Grab our Hedge Maze. Show me a land. Okay, I will take Otawara. That is a land. It's nice as a bounce spell to be able to stop some stuff, but I'm going to take it as a land here. And we're just going to play the land and then plan on flashing an ice-fang Coatl. And then play Birthing Ritual the following turn when hopefully we draw a land off of our 2 draws. And we can just pitch either a Coatl, a Shieldback, or this Quantum Riddler to this Force of Will if we need to. Oh, Wasteland. Okay. Ooh, they're not... Okay, they're going to Thoughtseize. I think we will flash this in first, see what we hit. They're going to daze it. Okay. Is this worth Force of Willing? Probably not. We have quite a bit of value in our hand here. Granted, they now know to wasteland us, but it will set them back 2 lands in the process. And we did get a daze out of their hand, so this definitely is Dimir tempo again. Which, little rant while our opponent's looking at our hand here. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen with banning of Entomb, is just Dimir tempo would take over, and it absolutely fucking did. Okay, apparently opponent wanted to take the Force of Will, and they are wastelanding us. Well, let's see another land off of the top deck. We did hit another land off of the top. We will play Beseiju, and we will slam this Birthing Ritual now. If they want to Force of Will this, so be it. Well, I'm going to try to do it while Daze isn't online. Alright, they do Force of Will it, pitching a Tamiyo. Okay. Well, we have multiple redraws in our hand, so I'm not super concerned about that. And it got rid of one of their win cons. Underground Sea is back. Into a Ponder. Okay. Opponent did not shuffle. We hit another Birthing Ritual. Let's see if we got another counterspell, opponent. Okay, that one resolves. A Wasteland on our blue source would be annoying. Okay, Flooded Strand, that's fine. They are representing Bowmasters now. So let's... I think we're going to try Coiling Oracle. If they kill this, at least it's just killing it and they're not getting a draw off of this. And if we hit a land, that would be great. And hopefully it allows us to play Phantasmal Shield back. We hit another Phantasmal Shield back. Okay. Alright, they let us get to this point. Are they flashing into Bowmasters now? Stop us from getting some ritual action for right now? It looks like maybe. Yep, we got a Bowmaster coming in. Oh, oh, they're Reanimator. Fuck. Okay. Well, let's hope that they don't have a reanimation spell in hand. Pondering, so it looks like they're looking for a reanimation spell. I'd like to see a shuffle off of this. Did not shuffle. Did they find the reanimate? Did they find the animate dead? They did find animate dead. Do we actually realistically have a way out of this at the moment? Possibly. We need to hit a land for sure. I think we're going to get rid of one of these shield backs. But, alright, after quite the delay, our opponent is finally back here. I'm not super sure we have a way to get out of this, but I'm going to keep playing just for now. We hit an ice-fang Coatl, so we'll run an ice-fang Coatl in. See if we hit another land. We hit a Force of Will. That's interesting. Hopefully we can hit like an Oculus off of this. We do hit an Uro. So I think since this is going to die anyways, we'll do this to grab Uro. Just to get another draw deeper and gain a little bit of life. And we hit a Quantum Riddler. Okay. And we'll ship the turn. Take a Swack for 5. Land from the opponent. Finds an Undercity Sewers. Puts an Atraxa into the graveyard. They attack. We are just going to chuck a Phantasmal Shield back. I don't want them reanimating our Riddlers. And opponent brainstorms. Okay. And an Animate Dead on the Atraxa. Well, we will Force a Will that. We draw a Phantasmal Shield back. Well, we're going to go ahead and just run this play back. We draw a Phantasmal Image, which is an answer to this Archon of Cruelty if we can get another turn. We hit a Coiling Oracle, which I mean, I guess we'll grab, because, again, it's going to die anyways. We hit another Birthing Ritual. Well, we basically got to hope that we can get this Phantasmal Image to stick, copy the Archon, and hope that our opponent dies and we can finish the game out before they find another way to reanimate something before we can realistically get back in the game. Another Atraxa in the bin. Moving to combat. We lose our Coiling Oracle. We're going to probably just chuck this Phantasmal Shield back at this point. Reanimate on Atraxa. Do we see a Force of Will? If we do, we'll probably scoop. And there's a Force of Will. Okay, well, yet again, somehow absolutely fucking mana screwed. That being said, we are bringing in Endurances. We are bringing in Force of Negation. And I think we are going to bring in Force of Vigor to be able to take out an Animate Dead. I do not think this is going to be a Tamiyo matchup at all. Maybe the Force of Vigors are a bit aggressive there. I think we could probably take out Daze, just rely on our pitch interaction here and our Flare Denials. And then we got to cut one more. I love you, Uro, but I think you're going to be way too slow for this one. So let's try something like that. Okay. I like this. We'll go ahead and keep. We are going to start off with a Misty Rainforest and pass the turn. Island from the opponent into a Ponder. Okay. Does not shuffle off of the ponder. And pass the turn. We draw Flooded Strand. We will play Tropical Island and pass the turn. Plan is probably just flash in ice-fang Coatl on their end step, or we can emergency brainstorm if we need to. We also can emergency flash in ice-fang Coatl, sack to Flare of Denial. And opponent is not doing anything here, so let's go ahead and flash in ice-fang Coatl. We will just grab another Tropical. We haven't seen Bowmasters out of the opponent yet. And we draw another ice-fang Coatl. I like that. Opponent is now fetching into an Underground Sea. They are Bitter Triumph pitching Atraxa. Yeah, that's fine. We have another one, and we have this Flare of Denial, so I'm actually kind of okay with that. We also could just play Wasteland here, take out their black mana, and then we will pass the turn and kind of just plan on doing the same thing where we flash in the ice-fang Coatl and then Flare of Denial. They have access to black again. Okay, grab the basic this time. Into a Reanimate. Well, we will flash in ice-fang Coatl. Coatl resolves. I'd love to see a Force of Will here. Endurance that we can't cast. We are going to go ahead and Flare of Denial this Reanimate. They did have a Force of Will. They were just being selective about it. Well, we can get our own Atraxa, which is kind of nice, but we'll see what they get off of theirs. Alright, Reanimate Archon, Careful Study, another Atraxa. There's no counter magic in this, though, so that's good. Alright, they chose Reanimate Archon, Brainstorm, Underground Sea. So again, there's no counter magic over there, which is nice. We hit a Brainstorm. We will go ahead and play an island. Play Phantasmal Image. They can Brainstorm looking for counter magic. Hopefully they don't hit it. We can pay for a Daze. And they've already used a Force. Alright, we get our own Atraxa. See what we hit off of it. We get land, instant, creature, enchantment. So nice little draw for here. And then we can go ahead and just pass the turn. Probably get rid of a Brainstorm. Or we'll get rid of a land, actually. Wasteland, okay, that's fine. Show and tell. Well, we're going to go ahead and say no to that. They are getting in with their Atraxa. Well, I'm okay with that. Get that off of the battlefield. We know 3 of the 5 cards in their hand. And then for the sake of mana efficiency, we're going to go ahead and Brainstorm here. Force of Will, Quantum Riddler, land. Well, we will put back the 2 lands. We will draw a land, play a land. I think we're going to go ahead and get out the Birthing Ritual right now. We have 2 layers of protection against what they're trying to do over there. And we can go ahead and fetch to go grab a Surveil land. Because we can emergency pitch cast Endurance. We can emergency pitch cast a Force of Will. And we can try to set up to start trying to loop some value with Endurance. There's the Underground Sea from the opponent. They are going to Wasteland, so we'll just float some mana. And opponent is going to Reanimate. I think I'm going to Force of Will this. And try to hang on to these Endurances so that I have creatures to be able to sacrifice this. We could have done it the other way around. Alright, burn off some mana. The Reanimate's gone. We know they have a Fatty in hand. We will move to end step. We will crack our Misty Rainforest. Go grab a Surveil land. Grab our Hedge Maze. Abhorrent Oculus. I actually like that quite a bit. We will keep that on top of our library. And we will just go ahead and play this Oculus. And we'll get rid of some lands in the graveyard that we don't particularly care about anyways. And then let's get rid of a ice-fang Coatl, I guess. And we still have Pitchcast Endurance. And we are probably not going to sacrifice this to anything with Birthing Ritual. No, we are not. And we will put a shield back into play. Careful Study. Okay. So this is going to get the Archon into the graveyard. We've already dealt with 2 Reanimates, but we know that they play Animate Deads as well. Alright, so there goes the Archon. 4 cards in hand. Into a Ponder. So they're either looking for protection, or they're looking for the Reanimation spell. Shuffled their library. I like that. Undercity Sewers. Okay, so I think we might just go ahead and flash in Endurance on our turn. especially if we draw a green card, so that we can still pitch cast the other one. Or we hit another Abhorrent Oculus. Well, let's get in for combat. Attack with everything here. And they've got 3 cards in hand. I think we are just going to go ahead and do this. It doesn't matter when we do this if they have counter magic, and this gives them 1 less chance to find it, and it looks like they didn't have any. And then we will move to end step. Trigger Birthing Ritual. We have a Coiling Oracle. Nothing we can actually hit, so I guess we're just going to say no. And we're at a position where we can probably go wider than them, even if they manage to stick one. The biggest problem is going to be an Atraxa. And I think we'll just grab another Abhorrent Oculus. And now they need both a way to get something into the... Well, that's a way to get something into the graveyard. Do they have a reanimation spell? And like an Archon I'm fine with. I'm more scared of an Atraxa going in the bin. Okay, and they scoop it up. Manage to get there. Our opponent is also playing extremely slow. They have just over 9 minutes left to finish this game. I think we are going to bring in the other Phantasmal Image, specifically because of what you saw in that game. We could also bring in Consign to Memory as a way to deal with entrance triggers. I think we're going to trim 1 Phantasmal Shield back here, and we're going to try something like that. This is a whole bunch of interaction, but no mana, so we have to ship this one, unfortunately. Okay, this we can keep. I think we are going to go ahead and put the Wasteland away for now. Underground Sea from the opponent. Into a Careful Study. And an Archon is in the bin already. Okay. We hit a Birthing Ritual. We will play a Misty Rainforest and pass. If our opponent doesn't do anything, we'll go grab our Surveil Land. If they do, we do have double Force of Negation as backup. Underground Sea from the opponent. Into an Animate Dead. I think we are going to go ahead and just try to Force of Negation that. We are getting rid of our Phantasmal Shield back, or our Phantasmal Image, but I think it's worth it for right now. We have another one, and I really don't want to deal with having to go back and forth on this. And then we will go grab our Surveil Land. Another Brainstorm. Okay, we'll put that on top. That's fine, because it allows us to Brainstorm and still hold up Force Negation. We also could just slam Birthing Ritual here, hold up Force Negation, and hope for the best, but I think we need to line up our next land and hopefully find something else to do here. Okay, I like this a lot. We could Wasteland them off of a land here and then hold up all of our interaction. So I think we will put back the Snow-Covered Forest and the Force of Negation. Play Wasteland. Wasteland one of their lands. Playing a little bit more of a slow controller role here. Another land from the opponent. 4 cards in hand. Ponder, okay. So yet again, we know that there is a Force of Negation on top. So if we don't have to like blow our whole hand doing this, we can safely Brainstorm and try to set up again. Into a Tamiyo. I think we can get through Tamiyo. I don't think it's worth trying to fight over that at the moment. There's our Force of Negation. We can go ahead and Brainstorm. We know there's a land we can hit here, and we still have Force Blue card. Alright, we hit multiple lands here, so I think we're going to put back Quantum Riddler, land, play the land, pass the turn. Opponent's going to get in. They do have a Clue Engine going currently, but our hope is that we can flash in Endurance next turn, assuming they don't have the Brainstorm to flip this right now. Or some other draw spell, but 2 mana. Going for another Animate Dead. Well, we are going to go ahead and Force a Negation that. And our hope is that we can ambush this Tamiyo with our Endurance. Careful Study. That flips the Tamiyo. But we can attack to keep it in check with Endurance. Discards an Undercity Sewers and a Bitter Triumph. Upticks the Tamiyo. Are your last 2 cards some form of counter magic opponent? For the love of God, no. Okay, doesn't look like it. This allows me to attack Tamiyo back down to her normal amount. They don't have counter magic, which means I should be able to play Birthing Ritual, hit Tamiyo, and hopefully turn this into something good. And we hit a Quantum Riddler, which I like quite a bit, but we are going to go ahead and get the Birthing Ritual down first. And then we will Quantum Riddler next turn, I think. And then we can hit Tamiyo. I don't want them being able to get that Reanimate back. And then hopefully this Endurance can turn into something meaningful. Endurance turns into Abhorrent Oculus, so yes, it turns into something meaningful. And then I guess we will put a Besaju onto the battlefield, not that it particularly matters. Ponder, okay. As long as they can't put something into the graveyard and find a reanimation spell this turn, I think we're pretty good. Okay, opponent shuffled their library. I like it when they have to do the desperation shuffles. Upticking Tamiyo. And it looks like they are missing land drops. Okay, well, Tamiyo is going to go away now, so I'm very happy about that. We hit a Quantum Riddler. We are going to go ahead and warp in Quantum Riddler to draw 2. Okay, opponent chucks 2 cards, a Consign to Memory, and a Force of Will. That's totally fine. We'll move to combat. We will take out Tamiyo, and then hit our opponent for 1. Tamiyo's down. Birthing Ritual triggers. Nothing that we want or can get here, so we're going to say no, pass a turn, and then we're going to manifest Dread, and we'll throw Oculus onto the battlefield. 2 mana. Cracking a Clue. Okay, I think we got this one. I think we managed to get over the hump here. We hit a Phantasmal Shield back. Well, we will warp a Quantum Riddler. We could flip this Oculus, but I kind of want to keep it hidden at the moment. And I would like some more lands. Okay, this is fantastic. We hit a Flare of Denial, so we can play the shield back. We can get in with everything. And this is going to shut off Reanimate on the Archon. Put the warp trigger on the bottom, so if we want to warp that out, we can. And we had another Oculus, so yes, we will sacrifice the Quantum Riddler, grab another Oculus, and we have a Flare of Denial, and potentially an Endurance, depending on what we draw off of this Phantasmal Shield back. Well, throw another Oculus onto the battlefield. Just get all 4 of them out there. And then we'll throw an Endurance. It doesn't really do anything since it's already on the battlefield. It doesn't ETB. It's just there. It gets flipped face up. Opponent finds an island. And opponent looks like they are show and telling. Or they're going to do a little mini Murktide region. No, it is a show and tell, which means one of the things in their hand is a fatty. So unless they have days, this should be game. Alright, and we got there on the board, taking down Dimir Reanimator. On to the next round. Alright, finally lost a die roll. I like this hand quite a bit. We'll go ahead and keep this. Mox Diamond. Okay, are we on a Stompy deck or a lands deck? Looks like lands. This could be tricky. They tend to not actually cast spells. We hit a Force of Will. We'll play our Trop. Play Tamiyo. These Saga Constructs are going to be mildly problematic. Into a Wasteland. Okay, well, at least we have another land. And this stops them from being able to... Hold on. Turn off auto yields. Okay, it's a Life from the Loam. So they're just going to try to Wasteland lock us, I guess. And have unlimited Urza Construct beats. Well, we're going to do what we can here. We're going to grab a snow-covered forest, believe it or not, and take out this Saga before it can go tutor anything out. However, they already have the Loam Lock online. We do have a lot of basics, so we can play through it, but they have their engine online at the moment. Alright, they got a Lush Portico, so this is lands. I feel like post-board, we probably have a pretty good game against them. Are they dredging the life from the Loam? No, they're not dredging life from the Loam. Okay, they just got another Saga. And they're crop rotting away the Lush Portico for Karakas. I mean, Karakas isn't a huge deal. If they want to bounce this Tamiyo back to my hand, that's mostly fine. Like, we could have forced that, but I honestly was kind of clicking through. Like, again, getting a little ranty here, but every player I played against today has been a slow player. And, like, this person started to kind of... Like, you can see they're just sitting here in my upkeep, not doing anything. Alright, they had the Loam Lock online. We didn't hit a land. We're gonna go to the next one. I don't feel like dragging this out. Like I said, I've been playing against so many fucking slow players today that it's honestly kind of getting on my nerves. So, forgive me if that was a quick concession, but I'm kind of at the end of my rope with people taking longer than necessary to play today. Anyways, we are bringing in Harbingers of the Seas, bringing in Force of Negation. Dazes are an easy cut. There's something to be said about bringing in Phantasmal Image to be able to copy a Merit Lage or something. We can also bring in Endurances. I think Uro is a pretty easy cut as well. Tamiyo is a pretty easy cut. We'd have to find 2 more here. I think we can trim a shield back. And maybe we trim a Coiling Oracle. And we try something like this and just kind of try to lock our opponent out of the game here and hope they don't have a turn 1 Wasteland lock going again. This doesn't really do anything, and the mana is way too fragile. I think we gotta ship that. Okay, I like this quite a bit better. We can keep... We are a long way off from the Zebhorn Oculus doing anything. And unfortunately, we are going to open ourselves up to a Wasteland on turn 1 here. We just need to get our mana under us. So we will play Hedge Maze. Phantasmal Shield back. I think I am okay putting that to the yard for now. We have our 2-drops set up, and we need lands more than anything right now. We do have Force of Negation to snipe a Life from the Loam. And there's a Mox Diamond. Do we want to force this? I don't think so. I think we want to hit the Life from the Loam if they're going to try to go for that again. There's a Tabernacle into the Wasteland. Into a Sphere of Resistance. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and counter that then. I would like to see a land here. That is a land. We are going to go ahead and play that, and I think we're going to start off with the Coiling Oracle, just in case we hit another land to put into play. And we did hit another land. Okay, so we are getting our lands under us. They shouldn't theoretically have any way to keep us off of Birthing Ritual. It feels bad that they now could Wasteland lock us, but it doesn't look like they are. Oh, they're going to play Choke. Interesting. I mean, that doesn't stop us from doing what we want to do here. It does shut off 2 of our mana. Technically, it's going to shut off 3, but for right now, I guess that's not super relevant. And then we will go fetch one of our basics. Grab a basic forest. Grab a basic island. And then hope that our value train can get us there. And we do hit an ice-fang Coatl, so I think we're going to grab that. Or we could Coiling Oracle. I think we're just going to ice-fang Coatl. I'd rather have a card in hand at this point than another land on the battlefield. Okay, and Quantum Riddler is very good, because we're going to essentially be empty-handed when we go to cast it, but I guess we do need more mana to do that. Swords to Plowshares. Well, we can counter it! Is this better in our graveyard? I think we're going to hold on to the Flare of Denial here. Apparently I should have brought the Force of Vigors in. I still have Beseiju as an out. And I do have another land here. But again, unfortunately, this is going to be a one-shot mana source. But we are going to go ahead and warp in a Quantum Riddler. And we drew an Otawara and an Ice-fang Coatl. Okay. Go to our end step, put the warp on the bottom so that we can get rid of this and grab something. Okay, we do hit an Oculus, so we are absolutely going to put that onto the battlefield here. We do have another one-shot of mana. I guess we will put a Sink and a Stupor on the battlefield. Not that it particularly matters. If they can get back the Tabernacle, that's extra... Oh, okay. Swords to Plowshares. I mean, luckily we keep having our, one-shots of mana to be able to do what we need to. We hit another Flare of Denial. We will play Otawara. At least that untaps. It gives us access to blue mana again. We hit another Ice-fang Coatl. Hopefully this Coatl can turn into something useful. Another Oculus, okay. There was a Harbinger this season there that might have actually been worth something, but we have a Harbinger right there. If we hit another blue source, then we can turn that face up and shut off their lands. They can go ahead and Wasteland our Otawara, or the opponent just scoops it up. Okay. So with seeing the chokes in, I guess we are bringing in Force of Vigors. And with Force of Vigor being brought in, I think we're not going to try... I think we are going to take the other Phantasmal Image out. I don't think we're going to try to live the copy their Merit Lodge dream. And then... what else would we want to take out here? I think we're going to take out one more Phantasmal Shield back, honestly. And let's try that. Okay, we have good mana. We have a lot of interaction. We are absolutely keeping this. Boseiju into an Exploration. Unfortunately, I feel like this is something we have to counter. And then we pass the turn. We draw a Harbinger of the Seas. I think we will go ahead and play Misty Rainforest and pass the turn. Probably going to go grab a basic forest off of this, but we're going to see what they do. Okay, well, they get another Exploration. That's fine. Into a Wasteland. Into an Urza Saga. Okay. Into a Skateboard. Are they just going to tap down my land? Well, we can go ahead and go grab a basic here. That's fine. Go grab a basic 4 so they can't wasteland it. I would like some more basics to be able to shut down this Urza Saga. They're definitely going to be able to get one Phantasmal Shield back. Okay. Well, we will play Tropical Island and pass the turn and then flash in this ice-fang Quaddle to hopefully draw a card. Alright, they didn't do that. They might be holding this up just for the sake of making constructs. They are a little low on mana or on cards here, but I mean their whole deck is lands, so ooh, they don't have lands. Interesting. Well, we will flash in this ice-fang Quaddle. Okay, now they're going for it, so they're not getting any constructs whatsoever off of that. We hit a Sink into Stupor, which is a land, and a Quantum Riddler. We will shock in the Saporific Springs, and we will play a Birthing Ritual, and then we will get in for 1 and hope we hit something relevant off of this ice-fang Quaddle. We actually literally hit nothing. Okay. I would like one more blue source to be able to slam this Harbinger and call it a day. Because they are about to lose this Urza Saga here. They could have life from the loam, but I feel like they should have cast it already if they did. Found an expedition map. What are they going to go find? They can crack it for a wasteland. They are cracking it for something. Are they going to crack it for a tabernacle? I'll also say, I will admit, I jumped the gun at the beginning of this match. I thought our opponent was slow playing. They were not. They picked up the pace. I will give them credit for that. I was just a little on tilt. Found a Yavimaya. Okay. Into a tabernacle, into a Yavimaya, into another exploration, into another Urza Saga. Okay. So, into a drop of honey. Okay. Well, that actually makes my decision super easy then, because like I don't have to pay for this ice-fang Quaddle now. And if I just hit a blue source, which unfortunately I don't, I think we're gonna warp in this Quantum Riddler, see if we can hit a blue source. Because then I can slam Harbinger of the Seas. We hit a Brainstorm. That's not exactly what I wanted here. But the warp trigger underneath, no response. We have, at this point, I actually think we want the Quantum Riddler, as weird as that, or the Coiling Oracle, as weird as that sounds, because we want to try to hit a land. Because we're not going to pay for whatever ends up being in the battlefield. We hit a Brainstorm. We really just need a fucking land here. They can make a dude, give it haste, but it looks like they're just passing the turn. We will not pay for this. Please show me a blue land. We will not pay for the Coiling Oracle. Show me a blue mana source, please, deck. Please. Okay, we hit a blue mana source. So we are going to slam this Harbinger of the Seas. Hopefully that's like a Mox Diamond or something in hand that they can't play, and not a Dismember. Alright, they're making a dude. That's fine. We can take a hit from a construct. And we are absolutely not giving up this Harbinger. Oh, they have an infinite stream of sagas now. Fuck. I forgot that's how that works, and it doesn't just lose all of its abilities. I fucked that up, but we can make a pretty infinite stream of blockers here. If they just want to spend all their time making constructs, that's actually kind of okay. I think we're going to be able to go wide of this. We will take a big schwack here, but I think that's mostly okay. We have an Otawara. We'll be able to bounce that in a turn. Let's see what we can find off a Brainstorm. Or we just find a Beseiju, and that blows that up anyways. So let's put back Endurance and Endurance. Play a snow-covered land. Play a Phantasmal Shield back. They probably have a basic? No, they don't. Okay. So we can get in with Harbinger of the Seas. They can't block. That's fine. And then we do have Otawara to be able to bounce one of these constructs if we need to. Unfortunately, we don't have anything we can get off of this Phantasmal Shield back, so we're going to say no. It's just going to be on chump block duty on the bigger construct. And then we can Abhorrent Oculus. Okay, they have access to white mana in theory now. Is that last card a Swords to Plowshares? No, it is a Choke. Okay. Well, luckily we still have a blue source that doesn't actually... whatchamacallit here. Well, we'll block that. Okay. We have a blue source that untaps. We get an extra draw for this. We hit a Hedge Maze. That doesn't really do anything until we can find a way to get rid of this Choke. We hit a Quantum Riddler. So we will play Odawara, warp in Quantum Riddler. Hopefully we hit an Abhorrent Oculus. ice-fang Coatl, okay. We unfortunately have to hold back with this Harbinger. Put the warp trigger on the bottom. Please, please show me an Oculus. Okay, thank God. Okay, so we will sacrifice the Riddler, go grab an Oculus, lose this, get 2 blockers. They're living off the top of their deck. Okay, yeah, they're also running out of mana. I was about to say, why are those not tapped out? But it's because they didn't tap them for mana. And I guess we'll throw a Birthing Ritual onto the battlefield here. And they're going to combat. Getting in with the 4/5. Well, we'll just block it with the Birthing Ritual. That's fine. I don't super care about that at the moment. And opponent's going to move the skateboard over. Okay, that's fine. We hit a Harbinger of the Seas. Well, I guess we'll play a Hedge Maze. We technically have the mana to do something here, so we could ice-fang Coatl. We could try to brainstorm to find something else relevant. I think we're going to Coatl. We hit another Oculus we can't cast. Well, we will continue to hold back for now. And then we hit nothing off of the Quantum Riddler, so I guess we're just going to say no. And we hit a bunch of random stuff off of this. Luckily, we have pretty much pseudo-infinite jump blockers at the moment. We will eventually hit something we can hit off of these that's relevant. Pithing Needle. Okay, naming what? A good day for pie. I like it, opponent. I like it. I probably should have gone in with the Oculus there. I was kind of just whatevering at that point. All right, and opponent scoops it up. I mean, good game, opponent. I don't think that was over by any means, but all right, on to the next round. Right, round 4. Lost the die roll, but I like this hand, so we're going to go ahead and keep it. We've been getting absolutely wrecked by Wastelands today, so I'm a little nervous with this mana at the moment, but we'll see what our opponent does. See if their play colors look like they might have Wasteland, and go from there. But we got Phantasmal Shield back into Birthing Ritual. And we have a Brainstorm just in case. We got Uro if we hit our 3rd land. We got Oculus we can work our way up to between the Fetch Land and the Phantasmal Image. Alright, opponent mulligan to 6. Let's see what we are up against. Shatterskull Smashing. Okay, so this looks like Mono Red Stompy. We hit another Oculus. I think we're going to play Odawara and play Phantasmal Shield back and see how bad this is on turn 2. Ancient Tomb. Into a Magus of the Moon. Alright, well, we do have basics. We just got to draw them, unfortunately. Basic Forest. ice-fang Coatl. Well, we just sit back and see how this goes, apparently. Until we just naturally find our basics, apparently. Into a Fabula of the Mirror Breaker. Okay. Okay, they're getting in with the Magus. I mean, we'll just block it. They touch butts. Basic? Not a basic. Okay. Well, we will keep shipping the turn. This is virtually over, I would say. We're probably going to go to game 2 pretty quickly here. Unless, like I said, we magically find our basic. Bonus up to 4 mana. Chuck 2 lands to the Fable. Into a Case of Chaos Adventurer. Alright, yeah, I'm going to give this one more draw. But apparently they're like big mono red Stompy. If we don't draw a basic, then we'll just scoop it up. And we did. Okay, we will go to sideboard games. That's fine. So I think we need to bring in Force of Vigors, Dismembers. There's something to be said about bringing in Harbinger of the Seas against them to shut down some of their fast mana, but I don't know if that's necessarily correct. Daze is a pretty easy cut. This is not going to be a Tamiyo matchup at all. I think we might give this a shot. We could also bring in Consignment to Memory to shut down some of their artifact mana and like stuff like the One Ring. I'm actually kind of tempted to bring that in. I think I am. With that said, I think we will trim 2 shield backs. And we will attempt something like this, and hopefully we don't get Blood Moon on turn 1 again. Alright, this has very much been the league of favor our basic lands like a motherfucker. I think we gotta ship this one. Like, our mana's wonky and we really don't do anything. I mean, this is, we can at least go get a basic. Like, we go grab a basic blue, hope this Brainstorm shows us something to do. I guess we're gonna keep this, bin the Oculus for now. I really don't, like, I'm not a fan of this by any means, but And, okay, so opponent thinks we're a graveyard deck. Okay. Got a ley line. Well, we will go grab a basic island. And we will just brainstorm now. Ooh. Well, that's awkward. I guess we're getting mana screwed off of a brainstorm again, but at least we have Force of Will to kind of try to buy us some time. Basic mountain from the opponent. Okay, so they're giving us some time here at least. Because we've got this draw and the next one we know don't do anything. And then we're drawing wild and hopefully hitting lands. Ancient Tomb into... Alright, we could counter this, but I don't think this is worth it. We can catch back up to a Fable pretty easily as long as we hit our lands. So I'm going to hold off. We know that this is a ice-fang Coatl. We pass the turn again. We need our next card to be a land. Like, absolutely needs to be a land. See what our opponent loots with Fable, if they loot at all. Chucked a Chalice and a Fury. 3 mana for a Sundering Eruption. We can search for a basic, put it onto the battlefield tapped. I think we gotta force this one, unfortunately. I think we're going to get rid of an ice-fang Coatl for this one. If it came in untapped, I think I would have let it go. But since it comes in tapped, not so much. Like, we need them to not slam a moon effect here post-combat, and we need to hit a land. Into a Magus of the Moon. Alright, so we need a basic here. That's a brainstorm. I mean, that's a basic. I guess we put back this, play the basic. I mean, like, we can blow up Leyline and Fable, but we also know our next 2 draws are dead. Granted, we do have Flare available to us next turn. Considering this is a deck that actually has a pretty decent number of basics for a Legacy deck, this has just been absolutely miserable. So we're just gonna get rid of those, chuck a Birthing Ritual. Oh, fuck, we put the next 1-2 down. We take 4. I guess we technically have 1 draw. Yeah, this has been the league of our mana just being absolutely miserable, apparently. Into a Chromox that I can't do anything about. Chucking another Leyline. Into a Pyrogoyf. Yeah, that means we can't get out of this anymore. Alright, well, apparently this is the league of fuck our lands entirely. So, alright, on to the final round, playing for the positive record. Final round, playing for the positive record. Won the die roll. I went back and checked. There are 19 lands in this deck, so it's not like it's a super land light deck by any means. It's a little skimpy, but with all of our card draw and everything, we should not be having the issues we have. That said, we have good mana under us. We've got some stuff going on. We have interaction, we have card draw. I am going to go ahead and keep this one. We are going to start off with a Misty Rainforest and pass the turn. We can use this to go get a basic if we need to. Prismatic Vista. Okay. So I'm guessing some kind of control deck probably. Blue mana. Into a Tamiyo. Do I want to deal with a Tamiyo right now? I think we're going to go ahead and see what our next card is. We might just force this just to be done with it. So we will go grab a Hedge Maze. This could be like a back-to-basic style build. We are hitting a Wasteland. I don't think that's going to be super necessary. Since we don't have a way to deal with this Tamiyo, I hate to do this, but I think we're going to try to force a will at pitching Quantum Riddler. And, ooh, is this a mirror match? Opponent just force a will at pitching Quantum Riddler. Interesting. We have an Abhorrent Oculus. We could brainstorm trying to find an answer for this, or we can just play the Snow-Covered Forest and pass the turn, flash an ice-fang Coatl, see what we draw. It might be better just to play the Misty for the hell of it, just to increase putting stuff into our graveyard for this Abhorrent Oculus. Unfortunately, we cannot give this ice-fang Coatl Death Touch. Opponent gets in with the Tamiyo. Do they have a follow-up land? Yes, Wasteland, okay. Well, in that case, then, we probably will just flash in this ice-fang Coatl. Float for... No. Undo that. We are going to float this for green, because we're going to go grab blue off of the Misty Rainforest. This very well may be a mirror. Go grab blue. Flash in ice-fang Coatl. And it looks like opponent's probably brainstorming in response. No, they're dazing. Okay. So they don't have the Brainstorm to flip the Tamiyo, and they set themselves back a land. We hit a Quantum Riddler. Well, let's go ahead and Brainstorm. We hit quite a few lands here. I think we can go ahead and put back Trop and Oculus. Play the Snow-Covered Forest and pass the turn. And then next turn we try to slam Oculus with Daze backup. And opponent is getting in. That's fine. Alright, I guess we are going to get to see what they have going on over there. We will play the Polluted Delta. I think we're going to go ahead and go grab another basic here. Just get our mana under us. Main deck, we don't need double green unless we are going for a Escaped Uro. And we will mostly just get rid of lands here. And then an ice-fang Coatl. Okay, the Oculus resolved. I like that a lot. We have Daze. If they flip the Tamiyo, we can still kill it. Double Force of Will is kind of awkward, but it is what it is. Alright, opponent does have another land. Fetching. What is their secondary color? White. Do they have a Swords to Plowshares? Does not look like it. Okay. And we draw a Tamiyo of our own, so we will... Let's get in first, see what they do. Because we can play Tamiyo, Warp Riddler, and then we get our own Tamiyo. Okay, they're just blocking right there. That's fine. They take 5. We play a Tamiyo, and then we warp a Riddler. This is going to draw 2. We flip our own Tamiyo here. They are drawing a card off of that. Okay. Force of Will. Well, we will tap our land, force pitching force. We will daze the Force of Will, returning an island. Tamiyo hits the battlefield. Replay our forest. Replay the island, tap the forest, warp in a Riddler. We draw 2. This flips our Tamiyo. We have a Flare of Denial and a Phantasmal Image. Alright, Tamiyo flips. We have a Flare of Denial, but we can't really do anything with it at the moment. We lose the Riddler. Oh, I forgot to tick up the Tamiyo. Oops. I got a call from the wife. I got distracted. I meant to flip up the Tamiyo and tick it up. We will put the Coiling Oracle onto the battlefield. I mean, luckily we have answers for our opponents. Tamiyo, like, Oculus is big enough that I can kill it. Alright, opponent's tapping to draw a card. Hopefully that doesn't cost us any points here. Found a Scalding Tarn. And is holding back their Tamiyo. Okay, I don't think that's going to super matter here now. That was objectively a punt. We are going to tick up our Tamiyo, go to combat, attack with everything. I'm a little worried about something like a Wrath of God here, so I don't think I'm going to go all out and copy my Abhorrent Oculus with this Phantasmal Image. I'm going to play a little more value-oriented right now, and we hit a Quantum Riddler, so I'm kind of okay with that. And we pass the turn. Opponent fetches down to 3. Like I said, I'm a little worried about something like a Wrath of God here. Meticulous Archive. Put a Stoneforge Mystic into the bin. Okay, so they're Stoneblade. So the chances of them having a sweeper like Wrath of God are slim to none. Well, we can put the Phantasmal Shield back into play because we can flip it up and sack it to Flare of Denial to be able to draw a card. And they're just dead on board if they don't have a way to, at the very least, deal with the Oculus, if not more than that. Alright, and they scoop it up. So up against Stoneblade, I think we want the Dismembers. There's something to be said about bringing in Endurance to stop Snapcaster pre-war Formalware shenanigans. We could also bring in Force of Vigor to shut down some of their artifacts outside of Cauldra. Force of Negation is eh. Phantasmal Image is probably eh. Consign to Memory is okay. Harbinger, they're playing mostly on basic, so it's not going to be a huge deal. I think I am going to bring in... Alright, so what can we cut here? I guess what our opponent's doing. We can probably take out the Phantasmal Image. That's a pretty easy cut. It's a fair deck, so you typically want to take Force of Wills out, but I'm a little more tempted to take a Daze out since we're on the draw. I'm just really wondering about this pile right here. These Force of Vigors and Endurances. If they're on Stoneblade, like I said, it can shut down some pre-war Formalware shenanigans and stuff like that. Force of Negation doesn't seem very relevant. Consign to Memory doesn't seem super relevant. Harbinger, they're playing on a ton of basics. That's not super relevant. I think we'll just bring in the dismembers for now, and we'll see more of their deck to see if we really want to bring this kind of stuff in. I'm kind of tempted to just bring the Force of Vigors in due to back to basics as well. Maybe we just trim all the dazes since we're on the draw. Bring the Force of Vigors in as a backup here. And if we go to a game 3, we can bring the dazes back in since we'll be on the play. And let's try that. Okay, this isn't bad. It's a little slow and uninteractive, but I think we're going to keep it for right now. We can get the value train online pretty quickly. They're going to go for a Tamiyo right off of the bat. Are they going to do the hyper-aggressive flip Tamiyo mode? Well, we will play a island into a shield back and ship the turn. Alright, opponent is decided to get in before they do anything. Get their clue off of Tamiyo. Like I said, are they going to be the hyper-aggressive flip Tamiyo as quickly as possible? They are. Into a brainstorm. I wouldn't mind if they're just missing lands here. Tamiyo flips. We do need to find an answer to that, but depending on what they have going on here... Okay, they do have another land. That's okay for now. Do we try to play around the counter magic becomes the question. I think we're going to grab a basic. We have our third mana source here. I think we're just going to put them to the test here. This might be playing a little recklessly if they have counter magic, but it should theoretically get 2 cards out of their hand. I honestly don't remember if we saw Daze game 1 or not. But the sooner we can get this value train online, the sooner... Okay, they do have Force of Will. Pitching a Stifle. Interesting. Okay. Well, we got to find a way to deal with this Tamiyo, which means sink into Stupor or something like Otawara to take this out before they can ultimate it. Into a Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. Are they grabbing Caldra? No, they're grabbing Meteor Sword. Okay. Oh, they're down-ticking Tamiyo to get Force of Will back. Okay, so they are trying to play a very controlling role here, which is mostly fine. We hit a Coiling Oracle. Well, we will play this. We will play out a Coiling Oracle. See if this is worth them Force of Willing over. It is not. Okay. I'd like to see a land here. No, we hit a Brainstorm, so let's just go ahead and Brainstorm now. Brainstorm, Vesta, Wasteland. I think we're a ways away from these Quantum Riddlers, so let's put back Riddler and Vista. And then we will ship the turn. I am a little worried about this Tamiyo, but the fact that they ticked it down gives me some hope. We can also see if they're looking to protect this Tamiyo or start going after our mana. Brainstorm, okay. Maybe we luck out and they're a little mana screwed and this Wasteland on this Tundra will actually do something relevant. They had a Wasteland of their own. Do they care more about blowing up my lands? Yes, they do. Okay, that's fine. We can take out this Tundra. They're going after the basic island. Okay. That's mostly fine. I don't super care about that. We hit a Prismatic Vista. Well, let's start out with a Brainstorm to figure out what we want to do. We hit a Shield back, a Brainstorm, and a Riddler. I think we're going to put back Phantasmal Shield back and Riddler. We could just go ahead and play another Coiling Oracle. We could start trying to attack their mana. I think we're just going to play another Riddler or Oracle for right now. See how that goes. We want a blue. How much does this cost to equip? 3 to equip? We could blow it up. We could blow that up. Yeah, we're just going to stick with the plan and Riddler here. Or Oracle. See if we can get some more mana under us. And we do. And it's a green one. Probably the color we need the least, but... we can play this Quantum Riddler. Opponent's going to Brainstorm. Okay. Opponent finds a Vesta, so it's probably not worth us trying to Wasteland their lands out from under them. It's not really worth it for our opponents either. Our big thing is trying to get rid of this Tamiyo, so we would very much like a Otawara so that it's uncounterable, but they can't just put it back down again. Alright, they're going to Wasteland our Trop in Upkeep, which is fine, because we'll just Brainstorm to set up what our draw is. Wasteland, Oculus, Oracle. We know they have a Force of Will. I think we are going to put back Beseiju and Wasteland. Warp a Riddler after we draw. Or we can just play Wasteland, take out their land, warp Riddler, see if this is worth it to them to try to clear the way for this Oculus. However, they are going to be able to downtick this Tamiyo, draw half of their deck. No, it is not worth it. Okay. We knew about the Boseiju. We will pass the turn. They are going to be able to ultimate this Tamiyo, but they're going to be a little low on mana. I think we're going to end up going to a game 3, but we will see. Crack their Vista for a Prismatic Ending. And, oh, they're a Felia deck. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to go to the next one. Between Felia blinking their Meteor Sword and Tamiyo doing its thing, we are definitely not getting through that. Being on the draw, I think we're just going to run it back. We're going to run it back. Alright, we got a Sync, we've got a Brainstorm, we've got Uro Ritual. I'm a little worried about a Tamiyo, but we do have a way to bounce it, and we have some value, so I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. I think we're just going to start off on Trop, Hold Up, Brainstorm. Alright, Pawn Mulligan to 6. We will start with a Trop and pass the turn. Island from the opponent, and no turn 1 Tamiyo. Okay. Well, for velocity's sake, we are going to Brainstorm. This way we can also get through a pile quicker if we are Brainstorm locked. And we are not, so we'll put back the 2 forests. We will play the Misty, crack the Misty for a basic. Ooh, Stifle. Okay. We did see that game 1, but that's fine. We have 2 lands on top. And we have this Dismember up to be able to kill a Tamiyo. Wasteland. Okay, so they are going 100% on the mana denial strat here. Well, we know we have 2 lands. Like, we can always shock in the Sepulchre Springs if we need to for blue mana. But for now, we're just going to play the forest and pass a turn. Let a strand from the opponent. Cracks the strand into a plains and passes the turn. So this could be a Felia in theory. They are going to flash in Felia now. We hit a wasteland. We will play a forest. And we're just going to kill this Felia. We can pay for a daze. If they want to go down 2 cards for a Force of Will, I think that's okay. And then next turn, we can play Wasteland Birthing Ritual. Opponent's going to ponder. Okay. Hopefully we can get our value engine online sooner than our opponent can rebuild. Opponent did not shuffle. I'm assuming that means they found a land. They did. And they are not doing anything as of right now. Okay. No flashing in Ophelia. Okay, we can go get blue mana now. So I think we're going to play Misty. Play this Birthing Ritual. See if this is worth any counter spells out of our opponent. We can pay for a daze, so it either have to be double daze or Force of Will, both of which are 2-for-1s. Alright, Birthing Ritual is in. And then next turn we probably figure out what kind of land we want to play. Warp into Quantum Riddler, hope it hits something relevant. We could always just Uro as well. Wasteland from the opponent, okay. Into a Stoneforge Mystic. Grabbing, I'm assuming Meteor Sword again, or this could be pre-war Formal Wear. Nope, Meteor Sword, okay. And a Tamiyo, okay. We can take out this Wasteland just to mess with them a little bit. We could just sink into Stupor the Stoneforge Mystic. I think we are going to go ahead and we're going to go and fetch a basic first to warp in this Quantum Riddler, see what we draw before we make our land drop and decide what we want to do here. Alright, Riddler gets in. We get a draw. Unless opponent's going to stifle this, which it looks like they might. Oh, they're going to Swords to Plowshares it. Okay. We hit a Flare of Denial. We will play a Wasteland. Take out their Tundra. They can blow up a land. And it looks like that's what they're doing. Stoneforge Mystic. Put Meteor Sword into play. Oh, they're just blowing up Birthing Ritual. That's actually probably the best thing they can do here. We still need to figure out how to deal with this Tamiyo. I'm not super scared of this Stoneforge Mystic at the moment. We hit a Phantasmal Shield back, so let's go ahead and cast Uro. We hit an Oculus. I like that quite a bit. Uro goes away temporarily. We play Shield back. We have a Flare of Denial up. And we do have Sink into Stupor to try to deal with our opponent as well. Alright, looks like opponent's just getting in for now. Opponent can't get a redraw off of their clue. But they have a land that can flip Tamiyo. Alright, drawing off of a clue, that's fine. 4 cards in hand. Passing the turn with white mana up. Okay. So we hit an ice-fang Coatl. Is it better to Oculus here? I think it is, since Oculus refuels the graveyard. Oculus will refuel the graveyard for Uro. And we have a whatchamacallit up here. Flare Denial, which also draws us a card at the same time. Alright. They do have a Swords to Plowshares. We are going to go ahead and counter that with Flare Denial. Draw a card off of Phantasmal Shieldback. We drew another Flare of Denial. Okay. And it looks like the Oculus makes it around. I would love another Shieldback under here, but we do not. We will hide the Force of Vigor just so they don't know about it. And opponent is drawing a card and tapping their white mana to do so. Even if they flip Tamiyo, I can still kill it with Oculus. Holding up white mana. Okay. Okay, this... Oh, okay. They were about to get in. I was about to say, this screams they have a Brainstorm. They still have the possibility of a Swords to Plowshares here. We hit a Birthing Ritual. We are going to go ahead and start out with that. See if this can get any kind of reaction out of our opponent. Because if they want to... Okay, they did not want to counter that. We will go ahead and get in. They can't... Well, they could block the Oculus with the Tamiyo if they want to. And if they try to Swords this, we can flash in ice-fang Coatl. And then Flare of Denial. Alright, and then I don't think it's worth flashing in this ice-fang Coatl at the moment. If I hit a 1-drop, I can get rid of this. It'll give us a Phantasmal Shieldback. Or a Tamiyo. I guess that is probably worth it. Just to try to distract them. They are casting Ophelia. I am going to respond to that by flashing in an ice-fang Coatl. They have a Daze for that. Okay. Then I guess I'm going to give up my Tamiyo for a Flare of Denial. Okay. And then I get another Manifest Dread off of the Oculus. Yeah, we can put a shield back into play. Land for the opponent. Opponent is getting in with the Tamiyo. That's mostly fine. Drawing off of their clue. Looking for some kind of answer for what's going on board at the moment. Okay, they are flipping the Tamiyo. Flips the Tamiyo. As long as they don't have an answer for this Oculus, I can kill the Tamiyo. Picks up the Tamiyo. Into another Tamiyo. Okay. So I could just bounce Tamiyo. And I have a Force of Will. So I think we're actually just going to start off with Uro here. Let's get rid of stuff in the graveyard that doesn't particularly matter. They have a Force of Will, so they care about this, and they have one card in hand. I mean, I can just replay that next turn. I think that's okay. Alright, we will get in. Unfortunately, we have to attack the Tamiyo. We will attack everything at Tamiyo. They are down to one card in hand, which is nice. We only need one more card in the graveyard to try to get Uro back again. Alright, they are giving up this Tamiyo. Okay. They're just protecting the Tamiyo at all costs. That's fine. And Birthing Ritual triggers. More Phantasmal Shieldbacks. Just to get better stats on the battlefield, and if it dies, we get a card. It's basically the same thing. It was a Shieldback for a Shieldback. And then get another Manifest Dread. We'll put a Coiling Oracle on the battlefield. And now we can get Uro back with Force of Will backup. We could have forced it that time, but I'm more concerned about them finding a way to deal with this Oculus than anything. Down ticking for a Brainstorm. Interesting. They're desperately digging for something here. Found a land. 2 cards in hand. Swords to Plowshares on the Oculus. They have 1 card in hand. Is this worth forcing, or can we kind of just keep going because we're going to get Uro back anyways? I think we're fine with that. Tamiyo's still dead regardless. I'd rather stop something like Ophelia coming down. Crack their land, found a Tundra. And they're going to equip the Meteor Sword. Okay, that's fine. They want to get in, I will gladly chump with the shield back. That is fine by me, opponent. We will declare blockers, chump with the shield back. It doesn't give this thing trample or anything, right? No, okay. We will get a draw off the shield back. We will play Uro with Force of Will back up next turn. We hit a Brainstorm, that's fine. We can kill Tamiyo. We hit a Wasteland. We can cut them off with some of their mana if we want to. I think we're going to start off just by casting Uro here, see what we draw. Since it doesn't really matter at this point, we're just going to get rid of anything. Last card was a Daze. Ooh, is this worth our Force of Will? They're going to have a land in hand and then be empty-handed otherwise. But we can keep filling the graveyard? Yeah, that's fine. Kill the Tamiyo. We know their last card in hand is a land. we will play Wasteland, and we will go ahead and take out your other Tundra. See if we hit anything relevant off of Birthing Ritual. We do not. Okay, that's fine. If we had flipped it, we could have, but... And I'm okay taking a hit for 4. We're at a really healthy life total here. Opponent's going to get in for 4. That's fine. Like I said, we're at a healthy life total. I really don't care about that. We know they have a Tundra in hand. One unknown. We hit a Brainstorm. Well, we will Brainstorm. We hit a Prismatic Vista, a Force of Will, and a Coiling Oracle. I think we will just put back Force of Will and Coiling Oracle. Play the Vista. I think that's our last basic, if I remember correctly. So we're actually going to go ahead and hold that up. Because I think I've only got 2 of each basic in the deck. Get in with the Oracle. Hit them for 2. Then we will go ahead and flip the Oracle face up so that I can get a 3-drop. And we don't specifically hit anything, but we can hit an ice-fang Coatl, which has Death Touch. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, and it draws us a card. And we hit a Wasteland. Okay. So we can get Uro back next turn. They have 1 card in hand. This has Death Touch, so I can block the Stoneforge Mystic, no problem. We still have Force of Will up. And opponent is holding back. I like that. Okay. So we will start off by playing Wasteland. Cast Uro. I can pay for a daze. And opponent scoops it up, and we lock in the positive record. Okay. I like it. Oh man, that was an absolute blast to play this deck. I love the value engine that this deck is able to produce, and it really felt like it could grind back from the edge against just about anything. I very much felt like most of those games, I was on the back foot at the beginning getting set up, but once we stick a Birthing Ritual or we're able to get enough value off of our Coiling Oracles and our ice-fang Coatls to get to the point of sticking in a Born Oculus or a Quantum Riddler, that the deck could just pull from behind and turn the corner super, super easily. The only real negatives I'll say about this deck, and part of it could have been just variance or me not mulliganing aggressively, is the mana base felt surprisingly weak for having 4 basics in it. Granted, 3 of your lands in the form of Wasteland don't produce any colored mana, and while you don't have a ton of cards with like double color pips that you're realistically casting, the deck did feel very mana hungry, because you are trying to get blue and green online by turn 2, and sometimes it's hard to do that off of your basics to still be able to progress your game plan if you want to be able to cast 2 green spells in a turn or 2 blue spells in a turn. The only other thing I will say about this deck is I really didn't like Tamiyo in the deck. It didn't feel like a really good Tamiyo deck. There were times where you could flip it, but most of the time, I felt like I was using it as a blocker, fodder for the Birthing Ritual, or something to sacrifice to Flare of Denial. I never really felt most of the matchups were in a position where I wanted to race to flip Tamiyo to try to take over the game that way. So I honestly might say get rid of Tamiyo and add a 20th land. Like I was saying, we did run into some mana problems, and it is a little land light for a style of deck that is trying to go big and play the long game at only 19 lands. So maybe swapping out Tamiyo for another land to hit 20 would be a little bit better. That said, as you saw, the deck does just kind of churn through itself with the help of the Coin Oracles and the ice-fang Coatls and the Quantum Riddlers. So I think some of our land issues might have been a little bit just bad luck, but some of it probably was also me just not mulliganing aggressively enough to find lands. The sideboard felt pretty good overall. I don't really have any comments there. It feels like pretty well rounded, pretty well able to handle most things that the meta could throw at you. The one thing I will say is it did feel like it's incredibly weak to go wide strategies with just targeted removal in the form of Dismember. So with the rise of the energy decks running around and being a top contender in the format now, maybe go more for like a Toxic Deluge or something. Granted, yes, it's probably going to wipe out your Oracles, your Coatls, your Manifest Dread tokens from Oculus, but your endgame is eventually to get your Oculuses and your Riddler's online, and up against those energy decks, those are probably going to be able to survive a Toxic Deluge better than your opponent's going to be able to rebuild. So it's a little bit of some tension there, but I think it might be worth going for sweepers over spot removal in that sense. The other thing to keep in mind, and we kind of saw it there, is this is a deck that is looking to go long, and decking yourself is a very real possibility with this deck between your Oculus and your birthing rituals and all of your stuff that you're fueling your graveyard with, like Uro as well. It is very easy to deck yourself if you find yourself in a grindy matchup. So I might say maybe move some things around a little bit to try to get one or two of the endurances into the main deck, just so that you don't really have to worry about decking yourself in game one. But anyways, that was Simic Ritual in Legacy. I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing. I will catch you on the next video. And as always, stay salty. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. They are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.